going to show you. Okay, a lot of questions about DPPD have been coming up. And what can you count for DPPD? Remember, you can only count up to 30 hours per year, but in the February 21st memo from MDE that Claire referenced, this is how the state, or MDE, is defining DPPD. If you had a sub for professional learning, that's district-provided professional development. If your workshop or conference fee was covered by the district, that counts as DPPD. If you're being provided release time, that counts as DPPD. Or those 5 days that the district might provide, 3 at the beginning of the year, 1 in the middle of the year, 1 at the end. Those are 5 district-provided professional development days as well. So a lot of opportunities to acquire 30 hours per year. But don't think because you did 42 hours one year and maybe 26 hours the next year that you could take some of those 42, 4 of those, and give it to the 26. It's only within a 1-year period, and you can only count up to 30.
So you can't, even if you're going for the 180?
Even if you're going for the 180, you can only count up to 30 DPPD hours per year.
So you have to make a decision because the district sent you to the RSD, we paid for it, and they got SMCEUs. You have to count it as either an SMCEU or a district provided.
Well, here's what I would do, because most districts are providing 4 DPPDs or 3 DPPDs. I'm going to mix up on that, I know I am. I would advise you to do SCECHs any chance you get. Just because you don't want to get to your 5th year, May 9th, look at your certificate and think, holy smokes, it expires next month. And then you're going to have to do a lot of online SCECH work, which when you do online SCECH work, there's some paperwork for it, and it kind of gets a little redundant. So up to 30.
I have a question. She said that if you take a conference if you go to a conference that your district pays for, that can count as DP. Okay. When you go to conferences, they also give you the SC whatever they're called. Is it the same whether you count it towards your district? I mean, is it better to do one over the other?
You can only count it as one. Now, if you're counting it as DPPD, remember, if you're only using DPPD, how many hours do you need? 150 across the 5 years. If you're using SCECHs, or a combination of DPPD, SCECH, and college credit, it's 180. So a benefit to you is to try and count all 5 days or all the hours you could in 1 year for DPPD. Up to 30 hours for 5 years is your 150 of DPPD. But if you hinge on that, let's say for 4 years you've been really good about DPPD and you're just going for the 150 and you're on target, you have your 120 after your 4th year, but year 5, you fall on the ice, you break your leg, you have to have intensive surgery, you're not there for any DPPD year 5. I mean, I don't want to be doom and gloom, but I don't want you to lose your certificates either. So it's a personal, professional decision what you want to keep track of, but I'd always go for a little bit more than what I need just in case.
Kathy, and a year is considered July 1st to June 30th?
Yes.
That's what a year is.
Uh-huh.
And we provide 5 district days, so anything they take out is district.
Yes. Other questions? Except there's one thing I never do. as I never finished the survey for SCECHs where I have to pay the fee. Okay, here's your DPPD form, and as Claire stated in that February memo, you're to retain and keep this form, and also a copy is to go to central office to be on file. And this is an electronic form. You fill it out electronically, you get your principal's signature, and you're all set. Well, you're all set, but you have to put your DPPDs then in the MOEX site, and I would advise you to keep a file. Make sure you have a file, whatever color you need, so all your paperwork stays together, because you don't want state auditors to come in and want to audit your certificate, and then you don't have your evidence to support your DPPDs. Evidence, they haven't defined evidence, it just states sufficient documentation. State doesn't say what sufficient documentation is. I might put an agenda in there. If your principal has a sign-in sheet, maybe a copy of that. Just something that you feel assured that you have sufficient documentation. Questions?